let me just say this up front right now. If you ever felt like it's absolutely ridiculous or bonkers that you have to convince your own doctor or medical provider to admit your claimed disability came from your military service, well, you're right. It is ridiculous, straight up bonkers. Honestly, as a physician myself, I think it's actually borderline insane. As medical providers, we all take an oath to do no harm. And last time I checked, ignoring injuries from, say, ruck marches, parachute jumps, exposures, field artillery, and, all the other stressors a service member's body has to go through, it's not necessarily the healing category that a provider is supposed to provide. I mean, it's almost on the same lines as if you were to say, I'm going to walk into the ER, you have a bone sticking out of your leg, and the physician said, well, I believe you, but I'm just not going to write it down. Here's the deal. Whether you like it or not, the level of games being played in the system is completely off the charts. Veterans should not have to beg for medical documentation. I mean, you tell your doctor, hey, listen, doc, I jumped out of planes, I did 30 static line jumps, I had several hard landings, and each time I landed, my knees and back hurt more and more. But I was just too afraid to go to sick call because of the culture in my unit. And now I can barely walk because of the same knee pain. And what does your medical provider do? He just nods, agrees with you, maybe jokes about it, but he doesn't write it in your chart. And guess what? In the VA's eyes, and legally, it never happened if it's not written down. And let's be super clear here. What I'm talking about is not fraud. It's not lying. It's not gaming the system. We're not trying to sneak something past anybody, all right? This is simply just making sure the truth, the stuff your own medical provider already knows and probably agrees with, actually makes it into your record. So why does this stuff not get documented? It's because the truth is doctors are busy. And trust me, I've been there as a doctor. Most providers aren't ignoring you because they don't care. I mean, they're just slammed. I mean, you've got 50 patients in a day, 200 portal meshes waiting for you, and an electronic medical record that feels like it was designed by an administrator who just hates doctors. Sometimes things will honestly slip through the cracks. It's not malicious. It's just honest burnout. But here's the real kicker. Again, in the VA's world and legally, if it never gets written down, it does not exist. And it doesn't matter how obvious it is. It doesn't matter if your doctor said, even out loud, that it happened. If it's not documented, it does not happen. It did not happen. And you don't have the next in your chart. And you're basically, what's happening is you're going into the VA empty-handed, and the VA loves that because if it's not written down, they act like it never existed. So again, it doesn't matter if your provider actually believes you. It doesn't matter if you have 5-minute heart-to-heart where they actually told you, hey, yeah, that's definitely service connected. Again, if it's not in writing, it's completely worthless. So what happens if you don't get it documented? Well, I mean, you're going to potentially lose your claim. You can miss out on all that compensation. You can miss out on all that back pay that might have covered your years of bills. You could miss out on healthcare you flat out earned. I mean, treatment for the knees, back, shoulders that have been screaming at you since your 20s. And worst case, you're left fighting the VA on your own while the truth sits locked inside a conversation that you never had on paper. But if you do get it documented, the whole game changes. It's no longer you versus the VA, veteran against the machine. It's you walking in with your provider's medical opinion, time-stamped, saved in your permanent medical record, and discoverable as evidence. That's the VA's equivalent of dropping receipts. They just can't shrug and say, well, we don't see it. You forced it into existence. That one simple act, the provider's words in your chart, that could be the difference between denial and approval. Think of it like showing up to court. If you roll in with nothing but your own testimony, well, good luck. But if you roll in with the judge's brothers on your witness list, that changes the entire dynamic. And that's what this is like. Suddenly people start paying attention. So don't let your doctor's verbal agreement stay verbal. Lock it down, get it in writing, and make sure it follows you into your medical chart. Because in this system, if it's not documented, it is invisible. And invisible does not win you benefits. Listen, I've seen this play out so many times, it's almost predictable at this time. Veterans come to me and say, hey, my medical provider actually agrees with me, but they won't put it in my file. And I always tell them, just don't give up. You've got more power than you realize. You just have to know how to use it. One veteran I worked with figured this out perfectly. his medical provider used MyChart, which is, that secure messaging system most hospitals and clinics use now. Instead of just hoping the doctor would remember what they talked about, that veteran sent him multiple, simple, carefully worded messages. And one of them he wrote, "Hey doc, in your opinion, is it possible that my back problems are related to my years I spent in the infantry carrying heavy gear?" Now here's the crazy part. The doctor responded with just one word. Yes. That's it. One word. But that single yes was time-stamped, locked into the medical record, and discoverable. And guess what? That one-word simple answer ended up becoming the cornerstone of his appeal, and he actually won. That's why I always stress this. Don't underestimate the tools you already have. You need to leverage them to your advantage. Providers might not always write things down during a rushed office visit, but if you use those electronic record systems the right way, you can get exactly what you need, and in a way the VA can't ignore. So let's do some teaching. So let's say I want to start with using the EMR, electronic medical record systems. Here's the thing. You've got to use the tools that are already sitting in front of you, right? Almost every medical provider these days uses some kind of electronic medical record, either MyChart, Epic, Cerner, MyHealtheVet for all the VA folks out there. And the thing is, most vets don't realize that those systems all have secure messaging features. When you send a message through that portal, it doesn't just disappear like Snapchat. It becomes part of your permanent medical record. That is huge. That's the secret weapon. So right now, what I want you to do is to log into your electronic medical record, get comfortable with the system, and don't just rely on what's said in the office. Use that secure chat and get your medical provider's words in writing. Because once it's in your chart, the VA can't pretend it doesn't exist anymore. Next, you have to learn how to ask loaded yes or no questions. Here's where most folks overcomplicate things. You don't write your provider a 5-paragraph essay. You got to keep it simple, keep it tight. Ask loaded yes or no questions that basically force a clear answer. For example, "Hey doc, is it possible that my knee arthritis could have been caused by all the parachute jumps I did in the military?" That's it. That's the magic. You're not asking for a medical dissertation. You're not asking them to write a novel. You're just asking for a yes or no answer. And remember, for VA purposes, that's all you need. You just need a 50% chance or greater likelihood, because the tie always goes to the veteran. Now, to make it even stronger, don't just ask about the condition. Add in some details about when it started, how it's progressed, something along the lines of, "Hey, my knee pain started back when I was doing ruck marches in the Army. It's gotten worse over the years, and now I've been diagnosed with arthritis in my knees. In your opinion, could my current arthritis in my knees be related to that?" See how that works? You're not only asking them to connect the dots, you're actually laying out the continuity, as in how it's been ongoing all these years, and the chronicity, how it's progressed through the years. And that's gold when it comes to VA claims. So do just this. Craft your message carefully. Keep it simple, make it specific, and make it really easy for your provider to say yes. Next piece of advice. You need to really understand why this all works. Here's the big picture. Why the whole thing matters. Once your medical provider responds, that message is now time-stamped and is stored in your chart forever, and it officially becomes a part of your medical record, which is a legal document. It's not just a conversation anymore. It's documentation. And in the VA's world, and legally, if it's documented, now it's real. So that causal agreement that your provider gave you in the exam room, that doesn't move the needle, but that exact same agreement written in your chart, that can be the difference between a denial and an approval. So don't let a verbal agreement die in that exam room. Get it written down, get it saved, and get it in your record. Because once it's in black and white, the VA can't ignore it anymore. So here's the bottom line. Is this all silly? Is it frustrating? Yes. And honestly, it does feel like a stupid game. But if you're willing to play it the right way, you're going to win. You don't want to leave that Nexus floating around in your doctor's head where it doesn't do you any good. Get it in writing. Get a timestamp and make sure it lives in your record where the VA can no longer ignore it. Think of it like this. If it's not written down, the VA will act like it never happened. I can't stress that anymore. And here's the thing. Once you do learn how to do all this stuff, you're going to basically turn the VA's own rules back on them. You're using the system they built against the silence they love to exploit. And that could be the difference, again, between denied again and finally seeing that claim approved, getting that back pay. So, vets, if this video helped, I want you to do me a favor. Hit that like button so more veterans can find this. And I want you to subscribe if you want more straightforward answers on VA claims without all that crappy fluff. And listen, you don't want to miss the next video that I'm going to be talking about right here. I'm going to be breaking down how you can actually get your claim disability granted based on the different exposures you've had in the military. So we'll be talking about burn pits, chemicals, noise, blast exposures, all the things you're exposed to that never made it into your records, but left a lasting impact on your health. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss out on that one. Until next time, stay mission ready.